Welcome, class. I'm very happy to have you all with me this semester, and I will do my best to make this an enjoyable experience for you. And I look forward to your feedback and to working with you. I call this course Moving Customers to Take Action because really all marketing and marketing communications have to have some kind of customer objective, or else what are they doing? Why are you doing them? And it's usually a case of getting somebody to do something. Direct is more action-oriented than any other kind of marketing, than branding, for instance, because direct really wants someone to, in most cases, purchase the product. Sometimes it would be to request more information if it's a bit of a complicated, difficult, or high-ticket item. But as you'll see, I'm a big believer in something called the purchase funnel. And so everything we do in marketing is supposed to move a customer through the purchase funnel. Okay, this is our first lecture. I just want to cover a few housekeeping things for everybody. First, when you open the course, do take a minute or two and look at the left-hand navigation on the class page on Blackboard, because you'll see, for instance, under groups, you'll see what team you're on and who else is on your team. This is very important. This teamwork and working as a team is really my main objective for you guys for this class, of course, other than learning the material really well, because if you work as a team, it's not going to be such a lonely experience, taking an online course where you're sort of sitting there in front of your computer or your phone, sort of dreading having to open up and listening to a lecture. You're going to work on your major workshop project with your team. You're going to be doing, as you'll find out in a few minutes, sort of preview or preliminary presentation as a team in a couple of weeks. Discussions are going to be on a team basis. Each team is going to submit an ad, a direct ad with an offer to the class for discussion. And we're also doing some, I hope, kind of fun things, game kind of things that I'm going to ask you to try to do as a team. So when you look at groups, you'll see who's on your team. When you look at discussions, hopefully you've already done that, because that's where the icebreaker is. You will have already completed the icebreaker, meaning you have answered certain questions about yourself. Hopefully you've created a nice Bitmoji to have a little fun with, or you've decided to use your picture. But do review that navigation on the left-hand side. Okay, so yeah, each team is under groups on Blackboard. Okay, I want to talk a little bit more about moving and look at the purchase funnel and kind of set a few major themes for this semester's course before we talk an agenda for today's lecture and get into some more specifics. So, again, all marketing is about moving a customer to do something. So here you see a very simple diagram of a lovely couple here, each with a briefcase and or a purse, strolling through the store with their cart, and they're going away from our delicious, whatever it is, product, and we want them to stop and remember and want to buy the product. So it literally is stop the shopping cart, turn around, and move back towards the product. So we want people to move. Now, here's the infamous purchase funnel. This is something I'm going to drum into you guys again and again and again, because all marketing really starts with this. For instance, if you were tomorrow made the VP marketing of Keebler cookies, and you had a certain cookie you were working on, and you were in charge of the business, one of the first things you would do after talking to the rest of the staff and finding out about people and looking through a lot of documents and kind of seeing where the business is, maybe looking at the business plan. After that, you're going to want to figure out where your customers are on this purchase funnel. So, for instance, of your current customers, how do we make more of them to be loyal and then to be advocates? How do we get more of the right kind of new customers? It all kind of comes down to this funnel, and I've come up with a little way for you to remember this. And one of my students actually did this. I read it on her final exam last year, and I have purloined it, and I thank her for it. A cappella, kind of spelled differently from the usual a cappella, which some of you may know who watch movies about groups of people singing in singing competitions. A cappella means singing without musical accompaniment. But in our case, it's awareness, consideration, preference, purchase, loyalty, advocacy. So this is what we're trying to do with all of our marketing. Make people aware of the product. That's what advertising does, right? Make them consider the product, tell them what it does for them and why it would help them. That's advertising too. Then we get down to preference, finally purchase. Usually there's an offer between preference and purchase, trial offer of some kind. And when they purchase it, hopefully they're going to love it, and they're going to become loyal, and then we're going to have loyalty programs and rewards built in to make them not only loyal customers, but advocates for the product. So those were that was the introduction to direct, and those are a couple of marketing themes and principles. We are going to review the syllabus, which is also on your Blackboard under, I think it's called course information. You'll see a lot of good things in there to look at, by the way. We're then going to talk about something that almost really has nothing to do with direct marketing. It's something I kind of add, and I have added for my students to every course I teach. It's called MBOs. This stands for Management by Objectives. I think this is something that will help you succeed in your career. And a big part of what we try to do here at FIT is give you not only the academic information and the course content information, but we want to pass on things to you that we think will make you successful when you get out there in your career. We're then going to talk about 2 marketing constants, copy strategy and branding. And then we are going to talk about the company presentations each team will be doing in a couple of weeks. That is our agenda. So, just set the stage a little bit on direct. You are actually, in studying direct marketing, you are really putting your big toe into the hottest water in marketing right now, because all these things we see in the headlines, Cambridge Analytica, I'm sure you've all heard about that, and Facebook, that big story over the 2016 election, that is direct marketing. That is database marketing. That's what that is all about. And that's what we are going to be talking about this term. So starting at the top of this list, the kinds of things about direct that are in the news, this term big data, you will hear it a lot. I don't know who coined the phrase, but basically it's Facebook is big data, and so is Google. Google may be even bigger data, because both of these companies know a great deal about us. We're going to be talking about another company called Axiom in a few minutes, which is a data like warehouse. They have bought and acquired all kinds of databases and information about all of us. And the idea of big data is, first, you have a lot of information. Second, you have a lot of computing power. And third, you are able to do modeling and work within the database to predict things. You'll see right here at the bottom of the slide where it says AI Watson. I'm sure a lot of you have heard of Watson, which is IBM's artificial intelligence. They've been advertising quite a bit. So that Watson is basically that. It's big data. Tons of data, and tons of computing power put together to predict outcomes. Just one quick example of something that Watson is doing on the health front. So Watson can take data from health records from individuals, say in in a county, in a state, and look at what kinds of who has gotten cancer and how old are they? Are they men or women? And where do they live? And what's their income? And what was the treatment? What is the outcome? They can also put in data like weather, the history of weather patterns. They can put in air quality information. They can put in dietary information. They can put in weight information. I mean, I could go on and on. Traffic, for fumes, how many cars are on there. I mean, you can go on and on. And the concept here is they will find causal relationships between different sets of data. So they're going to be able to find that, for instance, hotter weather, I'm making this up, contributes to some forms of cancer having worse outcomes. Okay, so these are conclusions that we may have suspected or intuited, but we never really knew until Watson came along. So a couple of other things, obviously. Russia, that's again all part of this database question and other things they were doing, of course, on Facebook. Wells Fargo, one of you, you're each going to have a company to do a presentation on in another couple of weeks. Wells Fargo has been in the news now for a number of years. It's basically a database question. They were trying to merge the databases from different divisions. So you have the mortgage division, you have the regular consumer banking division with checking accounts, you have auto loans, you have retirement, you have real estate and mortgages, for example. So each one of those divisions at Wells Fargo had its own customer database. And Wells Fargo had no idea whether one customer was buying several different products or not. So they brought someone in, a database expert, to try to purge the databases and sort of see who had more than one product. And then out of that, they had an overall goal as a company, which was a good goal, of cross-selling. So if you had a mortgage, they were going to try to sell you on having a bank account. And where they went wrong was not in what they were trying to do. Where they went wrong was in the management of it. But anyway, one of your teams is going to be telling us more about that. Ad blocking software, of course, is another kind of factor and something else we read about. And we are talking about advertising, by the way. So anyway, lots of direct and interactive marketing in the news, and I'm going to want you to keep reading the news and bringing in some hot things to share with the class. So what we're going to do now is we're going to stop here, and you're going to go to a video which comes next, which is going to talk about Cambridge Analytica and Facebook. And then I will be back with you to keep going.